How do you get sick of a miracle? In this week's Parsha, Hukkat, we are in month 1 of year 40 of wandering through the desert, and Bnei Yisrael do what they've done before, and they'll do again. They start to complain. We have no food, we have no water, and we are sick of this miserable food. Miserable food? That miserable food they're talking about is the manna that falls from heaven each day to feed them, that tastes like anything that you want, that is literally a miracle and a gift from God. And they're sick of it? It's miserable? How does that happen? Well, Rashi looks at the words that they use. They say, Nafshenu katsa, our souls are short. And he says this is language of being overwhelmed, of suffering so much that they don't have the mental space to hold anything else. There's just too much for them. And what are they suffering from? Well, they're this close to the promised land. They just need to go through the little territory of Edom and they're there. But the king of Edom has said, you can't come through, and if you try, we're going to wage war. So they've got to go around. But not just so they have to go around, they end up all the way back at Yam Suf at the Sea of Reeds where they started from. That kind of setback, can understand why that might lead to a shortened spirit, to utter frustration, the inability to appreciate where they are because they've had so much. They should be past this, and they're just so sick of all of it, including even the miracle of the man. The 19th century commentator, the Khatam Sofer, sees it completely differently. He says, this far into their journey, they've been able to trade with other groups of people. They've had access to resources that they didn't before, including grain, including flour. And so now they've been able to make real bread that they couldn't do before. But now when that runs out, they have this taste in their mouth. They have this expectation. Everybody else has bread. We know what bread looks like. We want bread. We're sick of this man. Who cares if it's a miracle? With this expectation, it's a setup for letdown. When you have an expectation that's unfulfilled, it's often a source of frustration. And not only is it an expectation, it's also a comparison. What I've got is different from everybody else, and so what I've got is not good enough. God, you've done nothing good for me. Well, that's just a lie. And we have knowledge of a master of lies in the Torah. It's the snake from the Garden of Eden. And so God sends snakes, venomous snakes, to bite and punish the people. They ask Moses to intervene. Moses prays to God, and God says, make a copper snake. Put it at the top of a very tall pole, and everybody who looks at this copper snake will be healed. Now, chas v'shalom, God forbid that we should think that creating a statue and looking at it has any sort of metaphysical power. We have commandments against that. Rather, the snake here is a symbol for the lies, for the expectations, for the setbacks, for all that they look at and see as negative. And instead of having it down on the ground, they have to look up at it. When we have setbacks, when we are overcome with jealousy of comparisons, when we have expectations that are unfulfilled, all of those things can make our blessings seem like curses. But when we can hold our heads up high and look at the things that we can see as negative and rather face them with determination, with perseverance, and with emunah, with a little bit of faith, then we too can be healed and appreciate the miracles in our lives. Shabbat Shalom.